Welcome back then guys to this live stream. It is now time for the sprint race for IFMC GP2, and if you can see what happened yesterday in the feature race, it was a dominant display from Felix Rosenqvist, who went on to take the victory and obviously lead the championship now by 7 points over George Russell. Sergey Sirotkin crossed the line in second, followed by Mitch, who finished in third in the VorteX racing car. VorteX lifting up to fifth in the team's championship, with East Midlands Racing lifting up to second in the team's championship, but still a long way behind Red Bull Ecademy. Specifically, if my maths are correct, specifically they are trying to think now. They are, well, I think around about 90 some points behind them now, which I did some maths yesterday, just for anybody wondering, and I can say that not this race, but next weekend at Imola, Red Bull Academy do have an opportunity to grab the team's championship at Imola. Not today here in the sprint race, it's not possible for them to do that, but next race at Imola, they can do. I'll go through more details when we get there next weekend. But we'll get on to the sprint race. As you know, the top 8 get reversed, and it sees Louis Razia on pole position. The first time we've seen him on pole since last season at a Lance Stroll and Jolyon Palmer. So it'll be very interesting to see if the Willows Grand Prix cars can get themselves a double podium. Be very interested to see if Stroll can get his first victory of the season as well. I'll have to wait and see, really. So before we start then, guys, let's mute this, turn this up a little, and let's have a look at the grid for the sprint race here at Budapest. Here we go then. So on pole position it is Louis Razia with Lance Stroll in second, Jolyon Palmer is in third, with Pierre in fourth. George Russell lines up in 5th and Mitch in 6th position. Sergey Sirotkin is in 7th with yesterday's winner Felix Rosenqvist in 8th position. 9th on the grid goes to Ghiotto, followed by Luca Ghiotto, who starts in 10th. 11th on the grid is Yuri Vips, followed by Nobuharu Matsushita in the Holy Trinity racing car. Nato is 13th thanks to his penalisation from yesterday. Alongside him is Luca in 14th. The two Lopez Racing Development cars lock out row 8 with Joel Eriksson 15th and Sasha Fenestraz in 16th position. Nyck de Vries starts 17th with Sergey in 18th position. Santiago Irishu is 19th with Dan Ticktum in 20th. On the back row of the grid, it's Alex Lynn and Lando Norris. And that is the grid for the sprint race here at Budapest. So there is the grid then, guys, for the sprint race. We've got 21 laps of action coming your way. And the weather, of course, being bright and sunny. So leave your predictions, but without further ado, let's get to the sprint race. So, here we are then on the grid then. It's Razia on the right of your screen, Stroll on the left, who's going to get the lead into turn 1 as we wait for the 5 red lights to go off to signify the start of the sprint race here at Budapest for 21 laps of action. And we wait for the lights to get underway. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are on. And it is go for the sprint race here at Budapest. It's a good start from Stroll. He's going to better start than what Razia did. It's a good down towards turn 1. Palmer's had a good start, as has Gasly. Gasly trying to look at these lot in front of them. Gasly looking to the inside of both Stroll and Razia into turn 1. Can Gasly make this one stick? Danny inside into turn 1. And he has done. Gasly leads the sprint race here at Budapest. A fantastic start for the Frenchman. Razia down to third. Stroll has jumped him at the start. But Russell side by side with Palmer into turn number 3 now then, as he tries to make his way round the outside of his fellow compatriot. Has he got the place? They still remain side by side through turn 4. Russell backs out a little bit, and Palmer just has the edge to keep on at 4th from Russell, as now Ghiotto has had a good start. He's up to 6th place from 10th on the grid, but Evans trying to get him back down through this left-hander, and he takes it back up to 6th place. Goes Mitch in the VorteX car. It's not been a good start from Rosenqvist and Sirotkin. Rosenqvist keeps his position with Sirotkin down to 10th. Good start from Vips, who's made himself into the top 10. Has everybody got through okay? It does appear that everybody's got through okay. Norris still bringing at the rear, but it's Gasly who leads, followed by Stroll in second, closely followed by Razia in third. Then it's Palmer 4th, Russell in 5th, close behind. Evans running at the top 6 at the moment as they make their way round the S's now then. And, well, that's not really as far as they're concerned now then, as Gasly continues to lead the way, looking for his first sprint race victory since, I think he's never even taken a sprint race victory now that I think of it. I think he's only taken victories in the feature race. I might be wrong on that, but as you can see, Stroll getting away and trying to chase back down onto Gasly for the lead of the race. His former teammate from last season, let's not forget. as they make their way around the corner, and Russell's up to 4th, he's past Palmer, so up into 4th place goes George Russell, as his teammate is currently in 8th place, stuck behind Luca Ghiotto's East Midlands racing car, and Vip's trying to close in as well, but Sirotkin's all over the back of him, as they come down the pitch right here, and they had a lap 1:21 then, here at Budapest, it's Gasly who leads, Stroll in 2nd, Razia 3rd, Russell 4th, Palmer 5th, and Evans who rounds out the top 6, meantime, Rosenqvist looking to the inside of Ghiotto, will Rosenqvist get the move done, Danny inside goes the championship leader, has he got the place, Danny inside into turn 1, and yes he has, Rosenqvist up into 7th place as Vips and Sirotkin go side by side out of turn 1. Can Sirotkin get the edge on Vips? No, Vips just able to hold on and keep on a 9th place for the moment. Now Goliath has a look at Sirotkin, but Sirotkin covers him off into turn 3 to keep hold of 10th place as Matsushita's all on the backside of his teammate now then. Round the corners they go. Now Norris still stuck behind a load of cars in the moment as it looks like Stroll's starting to fall back now a bit from race leader Gasly as Gasly tries to up the pace a little bit and pull away from the front of the field as he will now head up towards the chicane now then for the 2nd time today. Round the right and left hander goes the Frenchman and Rassi is starting to drop back from Stroll a little bit. Meantime Palmer's still sticking with Russell, but Evans has other ideas as he's all over the backside of the Brit now then as they make their way round the S's. And that's that really as far as they're concerned. But having saying that, Palmer now starting to up the pace and pull a bit of a gap to Evans as he tries to keep up with fellow compatriot George Russell in this race as they come out of the right hander now. They're down towards the last few turns on the track. Rosenqvist not close enough to Evans, but he's trying to gain onto him. At this stage, if it remains like this, the gap between Russell and Rosenqvist will be down to 4 points in the Drivers' Championship, with Russell up in 4th place at the minute, which is worth 3 championship points. Rosenqvist is currently outside the points at the moment, but trying to chase down Evans if he can to get into the points. As he rounds the final turn on the track as Gasly now sets the fastest lap of the race. So far Gasly holding on to the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race as he continues to pull the gap in front of Lance Stroll in this race. He heads down towards turn 1 on the track now. Then Gasly looking for his 3rd victory of the season, and if it stays like this, Gasly will overtake Norris in the championship and move up to 3rd in the Drivers' Championship if he can just keep all of this lead. And with Norris currently outside the points at this stage. Meantime now then, Russell starting to get away from Palmer as he tries to chase down Razia for the final podium place. Russell on a charge at the moment in the Red Bull Academy as he wants to gain the points back he lost yesterday from the feature race after Rosenqvist won yesterday. As we go up the hill now then towards the left-hander, as you can see Evans trying to get a hold of Palmer in front of him now then to try and get hold of 5th place in this race. Coming off the turn as they will now approach the chicane on the track. Evans and Rosenqvist piling the pressure on the Brit at this stage. Palmer taking a wider line through the chicane there, and that puts in prey to Evans' VorteX Racing development car. As meantime, Vips still fending off from Sirotkin. In fact, Vips is starting to form a train a little bit. Matsushita's up to 11th because and Yo is up to 12th. So Goliath's lost 2 places already, and he's down to 13th place. And he's starting to come onto attack from another train of cars formed up by Joel Eriksson. As it still looks like Norris is bringing up the rear of the field. He's struggling to find a way through at this stage, and probably struggling to find an overtake. Meantime now, look how close Russell is to the backside of Razia as he tries to get the podium place off the Brazilian. Off the second to last corner he goes now then, and then up towards the final turn will go the championship contender George Russell. Round the final turn and onto the pit straight we go. Will Russell get the move done on Louis Razia as he goes down the pit straight towards turn 1? And is Russell close enough to make a move? I don't think he is, so Razzie will keep hold of 3rd for the minute. Meantime now though, Rosenqvist down the inside as Evans is taking 5th from Palmer. A couple of corners ago now, Rosenqvist is now down the inside of Palmer. Would he grab 6th from the Brit? Down the inside, and no. Palmer just able to hang in around the outside to keep hold of 6th place. And now Ghiotto's been put in that battle. Sirotkin looks to the inside of Vips into turn 1 again. Has he got the place this time as Ghiotto trying to go side by side with Felix. Rosenqvist into the left-hander. Has a little go at turn 3, but Rosenqvist covers him off and keeps hold of 7th place as Vips still fending off from Sirotkin. In fact, Sirotkin's having to fend off from Matsushita, who's side by side with him through turn 4 now then, and Matsushita gets the place on Sirotkin. Up into 10th place goes no behind Matsushita, and now Yura having a little look at Sirotkin, but Sirotkin covers him off and keeps hold of 11th place in this race now then. Meantime, look at this battle for 6th between Palmer, Rosenqvist and Ghiotto as they make their way down towards the chicane, and everybody keeping single file down through the chicane now then. And Ghiotto looking for any opportunity to pounce upon if he can as they round the S's And meantime now then, Russell's still stuck behind Russell, but can he possibly get a run out of this corner and get him down towards the third to last corner now then on the track? Razia goes defensive. Will Russell try and flick it to the inside? No, he's going to remain single file towards the right-hander. Isn't going to risk it for a chalky biscuit. Rosenqvist had a little look at Palmer, but again Palmer covers him off to keep on the 6th place. Ghiotto wasn't able to take full advantage of that and has to stay behind for the time being. As meantime now then, Masashita getting away from Sirotkin. Masashita trying to chase down Vips for 9th place if he can, as they make their way around the left-hander now then on the track. Meantime, Sergey still in 18th place. Norris still bringing up the rear of the field at this stage. Meantime now, Russell all over the backside of Razia. Would he grab 3rd place from the Brazilian now? And he's going to look to the inside. Razia trying to shut the door, which he does. Razia holding on to 3rd place for the moment. Meantime, Rosenqvist, Danny inside of Palmer. Would he get 6th this time from the Willows Grand Prix man? Danny inside into turn 1. Has he got the place? And yes, he has. Over to 6th place goes Felix. Rosenqvist gets the move done at last on Jolyon Palmer, as Razia goes defensive on Russell into turn 3 there. And now Palmer still trying to stick with Rosenqvist, but will have his mirrors full of Luca, Ghiotto, EMR right behind him as they come down the hill towards the flat out right-hander. Masashita getting close to the rear now of Yuri Vips' eyes. PCA racing car. Look how close Rosenqvist is getting out of the backside of Razia, and he's trying to find every move he can. He would have been told that Rosenqvist is now into the points and up to 6th place. Rosenqvist's next target will be Mitch Evans in the VorteX car for 5th place now. Then Razia goes defensive into the chicane, but Russell doesn't go for the move into that chicane there. Palmer still sticking with the championship leader, still not giving up on the Swede as they come out of the chicane now then. On the S as we go, but it does look like now Rosenqvist is starting to up the pace a little bit, and Ghiotto might start to pile the pressure on Palmer for 7th place as they make their way round the S's now then, as they flick the car through the right-hander now then. As meantime, Russell Danny inside of Razia. I don't know if there was a little bit of contact, but Russell backs out of it, and Razia holds on to 3rd place at this stage of the race now then, as they make their way round the 2nd to last corner. It's brought Evans now closer to that scrap now as a result of that, as now through the final turn we go. Can Russell try and get a run on Razia down the pit straight this time by out of the final corner and onto the pit straight? And will Russell try and grab 3rd place off Louis Razia as it comes down towards turn 1 on the track? Razia goes defensive, but Russell was not close enough and has to stay in 3rd. Rosenqvist trying to chase down Evans if he can, as he's now pulled a gap between himself and Palmer. Ghiotto not close enough to make a pass and stays put. Meantime, Masashita Danny inside of Vips, but Vips shuts the door into turn 1 and holds on to 9th place for the moment, as Galar having to defend from Nato, who's going to try and dive it down the inside into turn 1, as Sirotkin tries to dive it down the inside of Dan Tictum, but both of them get covered off, and no positions gained as a result, as Norris now finally makes his way up through the field, and Sirotkin's in. Why was Sirotkin into the pits? He had a loose wheel. Sirotkin has a loose wheel, and that's his race down the toilet. A loose wheel has cost Sirotkin's race, and he's going to have to, and he's made a trip to the pits to get the wheel nut repaired, but he's now down to the back. Luckily, he won't be a lap down. It was only a quick pit stop, but that will definitely cost him any chance of some points today, as Gasly continues to pull away from Stroll out in front. Russell back on the prowl of Razia, as meantime, as you can see, Norris up to 20, so he's finally making some positions up, but slowly at this stage. As meantime, Palmer's continuing to lose time to Rosenqvist, as Ghiotto not really close enough as much as he would have anticipated at this stage, as we now look to the battle for 3rd again between Razia and Russell. Russell still stuck behind the Brazilian. So far, Louis has done a good job to fend off the championship contender, George Russell, as now they round the right-hander now. Then Evans still quite a bit behind. He's starting to lose time again to these two. As Russell now in the slipstream of Razia. Would he try to move Danny inside of the right-hander? No, he's going to remain single file this time by, as they both make their way around the final few turns. And up towards the 2nd to last corner we will go on the track. As Russell now then up towards the final turn we go, as Gasly's about to start lap 7 of 21 here for the feature race. So we now have specifically 15 laps remaining here for the sprint race. Now down the pit straight, surely Russell's got the opportunity to get Razia this time by, as they both come down the pit straight now then towards turn 1. Will Russell get the move done? He's going to look to the inside. Will he get the move done on Razia? Razia tries to shut the door, but realises Russell's there. Russell tries to outbrake Razia into turn 1. Has he finally got the place down the inside? And yes, he has. Russell up into 3rd place, finally getting the move done on Razia, and up into P3 goes George Russell, meaning that if it stays like this, the gap between Rosenqvist and Russell will be down to 4 points if it remains like this. And well, At the moment, though, Rosenqvist is starting to gain onto Evans for 5th place and trying to see if he can try and reduce it to 5 points if he can. But Russell's still going defensive because Razzie is still putting him under a tad bit of pressure, but Russell holds on to it round that left-hander and might have to do a little bit of defending throughout the remainder of this lap and then start to get the hammer down to try and chase down Stroll for 2nd place. As now going around the right-hander, takes a little bit of a wider line there than what Louis Razzie did. As we ride on board with Razzie as he now goes through the S's. And around the S's we go now. Then Razzie trying to pile the pressure on Russell, but so far nothing seems to be working at the moment. It looks like now Russell's starting to up the pace and starts to pull away now from Razzie. Now Evans will try and chase down the Brazilian if he can, but he's also got Rosenqvist chasing him down in 6th place at the moment, as Rosenqvist looks to try and gain some places as he rounds the final few turns. And here's Ghiotto, as unseen by the cameras, he's finally got by on Palmer, so up into 7th place goes Luca Ghiotto, and now tries to chase down the points if he can, as Masashita, unseen by the cameras, has finally found a way through on Vips. Up to 9th place goes no behind Masashita in the Holy Trinity Racing car, and so that's that for him really. There's more train of cars forming. Norris goes up to 19th, disposing of Vries as Sirotkin tries to chase down the rest of the pack. Meantime, here's race leader Pierre Gasly continuing to lead the way as we're on lap 8 now of 21, 14 laps remaining as he just goes around turn 2 on the track now, then down the hill, sorry, turn 3 that was, down through turn 4, and Gasly trying to look for his first sprint race victory in a while and his 3rd victory of the season, which if it stays like this he'll move up to 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, and that will help out Ecademy as they try and chase down Lightbase, Sony Racing and Eastman's Racing as well in the Teams Championships. It looks like those 3 teams look to be duking it out for 2nd place in the Teams Championship. So that will be that really, as Gasly now rounds the S's as he continues to build the lead out in front in this race. Meantime, Rosenqvist now then all over the backside of Evans. Evans not really chasing Razzie as much as he would have wanted to, as they both make their way around the S's now then for the 8th time today. There's Razzie as the pair of them try to chase down. Ghiotto's even getting closer to this battle as the pair of them continue to fight it out for 5th place. Round the right-hander we go. Rosenqvist all over the backside. Will he try and get the move done? Evans down into this right-hander. Evans tries to go defensive. Rosenqvist finds a gap down the inside. Will he pull it off? He late breaks into the right-hander and he pulls it off. Up into 5th place goes Felix Rosenqvist in the Red Bull Academy. So he grabs P5 from Evans, and now Luca Ghiotto will try and chase down Evans again for P6 to try and get the EMR into the points. As Palmer is also still sticking with Ghiotto at this stage. So very interesting stuff here in this as this race progresses. Meantime, Eriksson still stuck behind Euro at this stage. Euro trying to chase down Vips if he can, but Vips still keeping the gap consistent at this stage of the race. Sirotkin now getting close to the rest of the pack as he's only just about a couple of corners away, or maybe just 1 corner away from 21st place man. I think that was in 21st, that was Sasha Fenestras, wasn't it? No, Santiago Eriksson, who's stuck behind Nyck de Vries. And can he try and maybe punt a move down into turn 1? De Vries goes defensive and rightfully so, keeps hold of the place. As Seti Kamara goes down the inside of Sasha Fenestras and takes 17th. And now Norris wants a piece of Fenestras, his roommate in real life. And Gasly now then coming out of the chicane. And now in towards the S's we go. And Gasly doing a good job in the lead at the moment, as he's still got quite a bit of a gap now in front of Stroll. Stroll looking good to get a podium in this race, and probably his first podium in IFMC GP2 if my memory serves me correct. I don't know if he actually got one when he was at Ecademy last season, or even when he made the one-off appearance at Willows Grand Prix. But here we are really, as Stroll now then comes up towards the second to last corner as he tries to chase down Gasly, but Gasly just continues to pull away out in front as Gasly now starts lap 10 of 21, so 12 laps remaining for the Frenchman. And so 12 laps to go for Pierre Gasly. Out goes Sergey Sirotkin. Sirotkin out of the race. What's happened to Sergey? And Eurasia's gone for a spin, and Sirotkin collected him as a result. And well, that was that really. Eurasia's lost the front wing. And Eurasia looked like he went for a spin around that left-hander as he was trying to chase down Nyck de Vries for 20th place. Probably outdid himself, and he's already spun at this point. In fact, he's pulled out at an awkward angle, and Sirotkin just has nowhere to go and ends his race. So that will have to be investigated after the race. The incident between Sirotkin and Eurasia under investigation. Either way, Sirotkin out of the race, and we're down to to 21 runners. Jurishi is going to have to make a trip to the pits as he's now lost his front wing. But that's that really. And Stroll now then heading down towards turn 1 on the track as he tries to gain on to Pierre Gasly in front. Meantime now then, as you can see, Rosenqvist is now starting to chase down Razia for P4 after disposing of Evans a couple of laps ago, as he now tries to chase him down. At this stage the gap will only come down to 5 points, and it may be only 6 points if Rosenqvist can find a way through on Razia, as Russell at the same time is trying to chase down second place man Lance Stroll. And out goes Sergio Sette again. The Brazilian just has no luck in this series. Sergio Sette is out of the race. What's happened to the Brazilian? There he is. There's an oil leak, a fiery oil leak for Sergio Sette. So the Brazilian is out of the race, and we're down to 20 runners as a result. As mentioned, Sergio Sette, since he's returned to GB2, has just had no luck whatsoever. Only scored 2 championship points since he's come back, and throughout the rest of it, he's either retired or been taken out. And the man's just had no luck at all, and he finds himself out of the race again. And we're now down to 20 runners. He joins Sirotkin on the retirement list, pretty much just under half a lap after Sirotkin crashed out of the race. So yeah, that's that really. So here is Russell continuing to try and chase down Stroll. But meantime, Rosenqvist trying to pile the pressure on Louis Razia for 4th place in the Willows Grand Prix car. As into the pits comes Jurishi to repair the front wing, and he will be a lap down as a result from Pierre Gasly, the current race leader. So that's bad news for him as far as he's concerned. Coming off the right-hander there then. Ghiotto trying to chase down Evans, but he's still not within the slipstream of the Kiwi yet. And so far, still needs to do a little bit of work if he wants to try and overhaul him for the final points place. Around the final corner goes Rosenqvist. Can he get in the slipstream of Razia down towards turn 1? I don't think the championship leader is close enough to make a pass, but maybe on the next lap he could overhaul the Brazilian now then as I go down towards turn 1 on the track. And yeah, Rosenqvist not close enough. There's Jurishi coming out, and he is a lap down, and now there's a car between Evans and Ghiotto, so that will not help Ghiotto in his hope of trying to chase down Evans for the final points place. So that's not really good news for the young Italian in this race. Here's Gasly continuing to lead the way here at Budapest. He's on lap 11 of 21, 11 laps to go here at Budapest for the sprint race, as he continues to lead the way out in front as he goes around the S's. And of course Gasly is moving to the top class next season with Shadow Mercedes to partner alongside Carlos Sainz Jr. So that will be very interesting to see how that one fares next season, as Gasly will now head down towards the right-hander and uses quite a lot of curb on the outside there then before pushing the second to last corner. And Gasly now then continuing to lead the way as he tries to pull a bit of a gap in front of Lance Stroll. I want to see in fact what the gap is like between the top two at this stage as Gasly makes his way down the pitch race. Out goes Nyck de Vries. De Vries is out of the race, and there he is. It's a water leak for the Dutchman. Nyck de Vries is going to be out of the race and will be down to 19 runners, and he smacks it into the wall in disgust after what has been a tricky weekend for the Dutchman. Nyck de Vries is out of the race, and we're down to 19 runners here at Budapest. As I was saying, what's the gap between the top two anyway? Between De Vries' teammate, who's now the only sole GRM left in the race, Lance Stroll, and race leader Pierre Gasly as they head their way down towards turn 1. 10 laps to go in the race now. We're on lap 12 of 21. 3.5 seconds is the gap between the pair of them. You can tell how much Gasly's pulled away since the start of the race. As up into 4th place goes Rosenqvist, unseen by the cameras. He must have gone in with that right hand of the third to last corner. So up into 4th place goes Felix Rosenqvist, and now he'll try and chase down his teammate for 3rd place. At this stage, the gap between the pair of them will only come down to 6 points. Between them, Russell only will be taking a point at this stage. He's got to push and try and chase down Stroll if he wants to make it at least 5 points, but it depends really on how much pace Rosenqvist has got compared to Russell. He might be even gaining onto his teammate, but we'll wait and see as Russell now approaches the chicane around the right and left-hander he goes as he uses a lot of curb on the outside as he makes his way around the S's. And so through the S's we go. Russell using a lot of curb on the outside as he makes his way around these section of corners as he flicks the car around the final few turns. And there is Kamara's car from a little earlier on, Sette Kamara. But Russell currently 3rd He's trying to chase down Lance Stroll if he can for second place. But so far, things don't appear to be working out so far for the Brit. As he comes around the second to last corner. Out of the turn he goes. As he will now approach the final corner. As he'll head down the pit straight. And across the line will go George Russell. And let's see then what the gap is like between him and Stroll. As we have 9 laps left in the race. Lap 13 of 21. We're now on then as he comes down towards turn 1. The gap between them is 4.1 seconds. It's 3.4 between Russell and Rosenqvist. On that lap as meantime, down the inside goes Uisha trying to unlap himself from Evans. This could help out Ghiotto in a little bit. And Uisha unlaps himself at the expense of Mitch Evans. But Ghiotto unable to capitalise from that as a result. And well, that's that really. But if Uisha can hold up Evans, he can try and gain onto the Kiwi a little bit. But at the same time, Palmer's chasing Ghiotto back down again. And so Palmer looking to have another battle with the young Italian at this stage as they inflict their way round the left-hander. Out of the turn we go now then as Palmer makes his way round the long right-hander. So at the same time now, it looks like Masashita is actually starting to gain onto him. So Palmer could have a lot more to worry about than just Ghiotto in front. As Masashita starts to pile the pressure onto him now then. As he makes his way out of the chicane and around the S's, he will go. And the young Japanese driver trying his best to overhaul Palmer in front now then. As he'll go up towards the right-hander. Out of the turn as he will now approach the final few corners. Vip's doing a good job in 10th, and Yo so far just doesn't seem to have the pace to overhaul. In the meantime, Nato starting to pile the pressure on Yo as he tries to grab 11th from him in this race. So meantime now, Alex Lynn trying to pile the pressure on Joel Eriksson, but Eriksson defends the inside and holds on to the places. What's happened to Gasly? Gasly's got a fiery engine. Stroll leads the race. Stroll leads here in the sprint race as a fiery engine puts play to Gasly's race. What a shame for the Frenchman. He was looking so dominant out in front. But it's all come to nothing. A chance to grab third in the Drivers' Championship has gone down the toilet. And Pierre Gasly is going to be out of the race with a fiery engine. And we're down to 18 runners. Pierre Gasly is out of the race. What a shame for the Frenchman. He was looking good for the victory. And that's all come to nothing. Lance Stroll now leads the sprint race as he looks to try and get Jolyon's second victory of the season as somebody else pulls off alongside. That's Yuri Vips with transmission problems. What a coincidence. Yuri Vips out with transmission problems. We're now down to 17 runners in this race. They're all dropping out like flies at this stage. Gasly out. Vips is out. And, well, that's the end of Vips' race as we're now down to 17 runners here at Budapest. Stroll now finds himself leading the race with 8 laps remaining as we're on lap 14 of 21 in this sprint race. Vips out and we're down to 17 runners here at Budapest. And that's the end of Vips' race. As a result, it now leaves Stroll to lead the race, but Russell might be chasing him down a little bit, as is Rosenqvist. So both Red Bull Academies now onto the podium, and this could make it an easy task for them next weekend to try and get the Teams Championship for GP2. They can't get it this race, but they can get it next weekend at Imola, just because of the gap they've got between themselves and EMR, the gap being 93 points between them. So that's that really, and it doesn't look like Lightbase Sony Racing are going to overhaul EMR for second place. In fact, it does now bring Ghiotto into the points as now Uisha puts a lap on Razia. And in fact, Ghiotto's now all over the backside of Evans. So we have a two-way car scrap for 5th place as Palmer and Matsushita also try and catch up to this scrap as well. Razia is also starting to lose time to Evans as well as a result of being held up by Uisha. Uisha tried to unlap himself, but Razia pretty much sticking his middle finger to that really, if you put it that way. But Ghiotto starting to pile the pressure on Evans for 5th place now then as we ride on board with the Italian. Evans defends the inside into the left-hander and he holds on to 5th place for the moment now then as they make their way around the right-hander now then on the track and heading up towards the chicane we will go. Uisha again trying to unlap himself. If these two just keep scrapping it out, it'll bring Evans, Ghiotto, Palmer and even Matsushita close to this scrap as well, and it could even become a 5-way scrap for 4th place in the end as Razia is not letting Uisha unlap himself in that Macamo car. As Ghiotto now then doesn't look to be in the slipstream range of Evans down this towards this long straight, and Evans will hold on as Jolyon again tries to unlap himself, but again Razia saying no to it as Evans goes a tad bit wide there. I wonder if he's gone a little bit deep into the corner, because it now allows Ghiotto to close him back up again in towards the right-hander. And Jolyon again trying to unlap himself from Razia. Will Ghiotto try and get a run on Evans down to turn 1 now then, as they make their way around the final turn and onto the pit straight. Ghiotto now then, will he get the move done on Mitch Evans' VorteX racing car? And down the pit straight we go now then, heading in towards turn 1, and it doesn't look like he's close enough again. Jolyon trying to unlap himself from Louis Razia. He goes down the inside into turn 1 and he does it, but will Razia try and get him into turn 3 like he did last time? And well, that's that really as far as they're concerned. Razia again looking to the inside, and yeah, he's going to lap himself again. Razia, he needs to stop this really, because he's otherwise going to allow Evans, Ghiotto, Palmer and even Matsushita to get up to him in this race. As Euro has lost the place to Nato. Nato's gone down the inside, and Nato takes 9th place with ease there. So up into 9th place goes Norman Nato, and now Euro's got more cars behind him in the form of Eriksson, sorry, not Nato, Lynn, Tictum and Norris, and even Goliath and Fenestras are close to that scrap as well. Meantime, Lance Stroll continuing to lead the way. I was going to look at what the gap was like between Russell and Lance Stroll earlier, but I was caught off guard by the battles that were going on behind. And, well, that's that really. As soon Stroll will start lap 17 to 21, so we'll have 5 laps to go once he crosses the line. As they come out of the corner now, then we ride on board with George Russell, the championship leader. Felix Rosenqvist not that far behind in 3rd place, but at this stage, if it remains like this, the gap between them will come down to 6 points between Russell and Rosenqvist as they make their way round the final turn. And let's see the gap then between Stroll and Russell with 5 laps remaining. Lap 17 of 21 we're now on here at Budapest, as they now head down towards turn 1 on the track. Let's see the gap between the pair of them, and it's 3.2 seconds is what the gap looks like. 2.7 seconds between Russell and Rosenqvist in this race. So that's that really. Again, Jolyon trying to unlap himself as Evans goes defensive, because he can feel the pressure from Ghiotto a little bit. But Ghiotto wasn't close enough anyway and doesn't think about the pass on Mitch Evans. And again, Razia not letting him go. This is just going to allow Evans and Ghiotto to close up, but not really closing up as much as I would have anticipated at this stage. So they're not really taking full advantage of this. Palmer now getting close to that scrap between Evans and Ghiotto, so he's near the gearbox of Ghiotto at this stage. As they come up now towards the left-hander, Matsushita trying to get within the gearbox of Palmer if he can, as they make their way round the left-hander. Meantime, Yoa fending off from a few cars behind. Norris has got up to 13th. He passes his fellow compatriot, Tictum. So up to 13th place goes Lando Norris. And he's lucky that Gasly won't win this race, because if he did win the race, Gasly would have moved up to 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. But luckily he isn't, so Norris will hold on to 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship going into Imola next weekend. The gap still remaining 1 point between them, with Sirotkin if ever 2 points back. Meantime, here's Stroll, who's coming up now towards the final turn. And Stroll looking to get his first ever GP2 victory under his belt. And he obviously took a victory in GP3 a couple of seasons ago, but he's never won a GP2 race. And it looks like this could be the race. It might happen if he could just hold on, just keep his nerve in these remaining 4 laps of the race now. Then as he comes out of turn 1, using a lot of curb on the outside there, then there's a lot of cars forming towards the back of the field now, and down to 2.3 seconds between Rosenqvist and Russell. So Rosenqvist has taken 4 attempts out of Russell's lead there, and we didn't quite see what the gap was like between Stroll and Russell that time by, and so can't really make assumptions on that. And up into 5th place goes Ghiotto. He's found a way through on Evans. So up to 5th place goes Luca Ghiotto. He got him into turn 1. And up into 5th place goes the young Italian. It's now Evans is on the threat from Palmer, and Matsushita are all over him at this stage, as Ghiotto takes a wider line through towards that left-hander there. And he's starting to now pull a gap on Evans now then, as Ghiotto will try and chase down Razia for 4th place. And Evans going defensive again from Palmer, as Palmer goes defensive from Matsushita behind him. And luckily Nato's nobody there in this scrap, so Nato won't overhaul these guys by the end of the race, as they come out of the right-hander now then up towards the chicane, as Evans tries to close back in onto Ghiotto if he can, but so far it doesn't seem to be working out for him at this stage. Lance Stroll continuing to lead the way, and I was saying I was gonna have a look and see what the gap was like this time around between Stroll and Russell. as they will have 3 laps to go once they cross the line, as Stroll starts lap 19 of 21 here at Budapest, as they make their way round the final turn and onto the pit straight. So let's see the gap then between Russell and Stroll. Last time we checked it was 3.2 seconds with 3 laps to go. Let's see the gap this time by. We'll also at the same time look at the gap between Rosenqvist and Russell, as the gap last time around between those two was 2.3 seconds. It's still 3.2 seconds, so they're both lapping around about the same pace, but it's 2 seconds exactly between Rosenqvist and Russell. So Rosenqvist is taking 3/10 that time around off Russell on that lap alone. But whether he'll be able to get him with 3 laps remaining, it remains to be seen, as both Red Bull Academy cars make their way out of turn 4 on the track. As meantime, Evans trying to get back onto Ghiotto, but wasn't close enough to get him that time around. Ghiotto holding on to 5th place at this stage of the race, as they make their way round the left-hander down the hill through turn 4. Palmer still holding on to Masashita at this stage. Masashita still struggling to find a way through on the Willows Grand Prix driver, as they now make their way around the left-hander. Again, Palmer going a tad bit defensive, because he can still feel the pressure from Nobuhaya Masashita's Holy Trinity racing car. So the pair of them duke it out for 7th place. And Evans closing back into the slipstream of the Italian, Luca Ghiotto. And looking to regain 5th place if he can, as nobody really seems to be gaining onto Razia. Razia is still keeping the gap consistent despite having Eurisha annoying him at this stage of the race. So quite interesting that is, to be honest with you. I thought those guys behind him would have caught up, but clearly Razia is still managing to keep the pace consistent at this stage now then. Meantime, Lance Stroll is about to start his penultimate lap of the race as he starts lap 20 of 21 then here at Budapest. Let's see what the gap is like between Russell and Rosenqvist this time by, as they go down towards turn 1. It's down to 1.8 seconds, so Rosenqvist only took 2 attempts out of Russell's lead there, and from the way he's cutting the gap, I don't think Rosenqvist will be able to get Russell by the end of the race. That's just an estimate, unless Russell makes a mistake somewhere, but I think Russell has done enough to hold on to 2nd place, so the gap will be down to 6 points. If it remains like this. I don't think either one of them has got the fastest lap of the race. I think that might be still Gasly that's holding on to the bonus point, despite the fact that he retired thanks to a fiery engine. But we'll have to wait and see really what goes on. Evans still stuck behind Ghiotto. Ghiotto doing a good job fending him off towards the closing stages of this sprint race, as Nobuhaya Masashita heads down the hill through the right-hander. And so that's that really nice. Still stuck behind Yura. Yura doing a good job fending off the man who's currently 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, as they make their way round the left-hander. And so far they look like they're going to be having a nice scrap towards the end, towards the back end of the field, as we coming towards the end of the sprint race here at Budapest. Meantime, here's Lance Stroll, who's coming around the second to last corner in the GRM Junior. And he's just coming out of the second to last corner. And up towards the final corner we go. And as a result, Lance Stroll is about to start his final lap here in the sprint race. It's been a very lucky race for the young Canadian. He started in 2nd place and initially got the jump onto Pulsar to Razia, but was already overtaken by Gasly and just did not have the pace of Gasly, and he needed a lot of luck really to get himself into the lead of the race, and that's what he got after Gasly blew up thanks to a fiery engine. He was able to assume the lead and keep the gap, a consistent gap between himself and Russell, and from that point he was just able to run his own race. And at this stage, if he can just keep this up, he is looking good to get his first ever IFMC GP2 victory, because he was never able to do it when he was at Ecademy last season, and nor was he at that one-off race at Willows Grand Prix. So now that I think of it, of course, so it will be Stroll's first ever IFMC GP2 victory, and GRM's 2nd this season, as Nyck de Vries got one at the sprint race in Belgium a few weekends ago. So Stroll will get the team's 2nd victory of the season, which will help him out as they dropped to 8th in the team's championship last time out in Germany, as they look to try and regain the positions they lost from this weekend. Meantime, what's going on in that battle for 5th? Well, Ghiotto's still fending off at the moment from Evans, and Palmer still holding on to Masashita. They'll all get one more chance perhaps at that right-hander, as Eurisha has finally unlapped himself, and Razia not even close enough now behind the Uruguay driver. Meantime though, here comes Lance Stroll, who's coming up now towards the second to last corner, and he has done an absolutely fantastic race since he took the lead after Gasly's fiery engine. He comes up now towards the final corner, and for the first time in his GP2 career, it is going to be Lance Stroll who who wins the sprint race here at Budapest. Congratulations to him and the GRM Junior team. He takes his first ever IFMC GP2 victory and GRM second of the season. That will do nicely for the Sussex-based team. Russell finishes in second. Rosenqvist crosses the line in third. Urisha will be a lap down in 17th place. Razia will cross the line in fourth. A good result for the Brazilian despite the fact he wasn't able to convert his pole position to the victory. So fourth place for the Brazilian. It's going to be fifth place for Luca Ghiotto. Evans rounds out the points in sixth. Palmer crosses the line in seventh, followed closely by Matsushita in eighth. Nato is going to cross the line ninth in the Lightbase Sony racing car, followed by Eriksson, who will cross the line in 10th place. Lynn is going to be 11th in the end, followed by Norris in 12th position. He finally got Euro in the end. Norris finishing in 12th, Euro 13th, Tickton 14th, Fenestras 15th, Goliath 16th, and there you have it then. In the end, Lance Stroll takes his first ever GP2 victory after a whole lot of luck thanks to Gasly's fiery engine, and well, a fantastic result for the young teenage Canadian. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here's the results of the sprint race here at Budapest. Lance Stroll won the race with George Russell in second. Felix Rosenqvist finished in third with Loïc Razia fourth. Luca Ghiotto fifth. Mitch Evans in sixth. And then it was Jolyon Palmer 7th, Nobuhiro Matsushita 8th, Norman Nato 9th, Joel Eriksson 10th, followed by Alex Lynn 11th, Lando Norris 12th, Lucas Shura 13th, followed by Dan Tickton in 14th. And if we scroll down the rest of the field, it is Sasha Fenestras in 15th, Sean Goliath in 16th position, with Santiago Urisha, the last of the finishes, in 17th and under investigation for that incident with Sergey Sirotkin. The 5 retirements were Yuri Vips, Pierre Gasly, Nyck de Vries, Sergio Setikamara and Sergey Sirotkin. They were the retirements. So let's see who set the fastest lap of the race, who's going away with the bonus point. And it was Pierre Gasly with a 1 minute 26.694. Despite retiring thanks to a fiery engine, he's still going to get the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. He was 3 tenths quicker than eventual race winner Lance Stroll. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for GP2 this weekend. GP2 will be back next weekend at Imola. But stick around now, guys, because coming up next is the main event, the 70-lap Hungarian Grand Prix, which sees Lewis Hamilton on pole position ahead of Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo. So if you want to go and grab a quick drink, you can. The podium for GP2 is coming your way just after this. But until then, I've been JW1. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Enjoy the GP2 podium.